when I'm getting to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy. Ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Thursday, everybody. I got a very special guest that I'm going to be bringing up here in a couple of minutes. We're talking about all things freight sales today, all right? There is no one size fits all, but we got to think outside of the box. And this guy's out there and he's doing it, right? And you guys know how I love talking to actual operators on this show who are out there doing the work, putting it in, getting the results. And we're going to be breaking all that down here. But you guys know it is This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT. If you want to get in on this, you guys, like I always say, I need you to email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com. I just need a shipping city, a delivery city, and a trailer type. All of this is how can we find the stability in the market? How can we read trends and bring more consistent pricing out there to our customers? So today's lane is flatbed, and it is Indianapolis, Indiana, going to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And like I always say, this week, kind of got to take everything with a grain of salt. We see everything all over the board right now, but this lane, this is a lane that we move personally inside of our operation, and it's pretty much in line outside of this week on the trends that we've seen in rates starting to increase in unison in fuel. It started to spike up. But like I always do, you guys, the first thing I always look at is the miles, all right? Transit time, everything else very much matters, specifically to the day of the week that this shipment is going to move, because we need to be able to explain a lot of that to our customers on why is it more expensive to ship it on a Thursday or a Friday as opposed to a Monday or a Tuesday. So that's one of those things, and that falls into that gray area where, 1,300 miles, general rule of thumb, that's about a 3-day transit. We're not going to talk about strong solos or anything like that, but general rule of thumb, 3-day transit on those 1,300 miles. But another thing to keep in mind, and this is the importance of knowing the markets that you're going into. So if you move flatbed at all, you know what the outbound Albuquerque and outbound New Mexico market tends to look like out there. So you're going to probably hear that from your carrier partners is like, hey, we need more money because we might have to deadhead out of there, or we might have to sit for a couple of days to get any freight to come out of there. So it's like, if this is a consistent lane for yours, I would highly advise when you're prospecting in that Albuquerque market to try and find something out of there for your driver to get them booked and moved up in. There's a lot of oil field freight out there in like the Permian Basin. You could look for that, maybe send them into Southern California, Arizona, Las Vegas, stuff like that. So there's freight outside of that in about like a 500-mile radius from there. But going into Albuquerque, New Mexico is a little bit more expensive than other lanes that you're going to see specifically out of the Midwest. And then another thing to take into consideration, yes, we all know fuel is up across the board. Fuel is more expensive out west here than it is in a lot of parts of the country. I was, seeing reports that like in Illinois, it was like $6 a gallon. And I've seen people posting stuff in the state of California where it's like 7 and stuff like that. So that is a big, big deal when you're sending freight out west right now. I mean, I know a lot of our core carriers that are based in the Midwest that used to be out west for us, they've since stopped going out there because they said fuel prices are just ridiculous out west, comparatively speaking to the rates that they are getting. So they've stayed inside of that Midwest. So that's another thing to take into consideration as you're pricing this stuff out for the long term. I think knowing that destination and the outbound destination market is a very big component to this. Now, Indianapolis, there's a lot of flatbeds in the Midwest, okay? Going into Albuquerque, your capacity strategy might be best suited to find a West Coast-based carrier looking to head them back home in that right direction, because the outbound Albuquerque market is historically bad for load availability and everything else. But, I look at this lane is trending up, kind of like with a lot of them, specifically heading out west. I would look for the stabilization factor removing this week from the data sets, because I was quoted like $8,000 and $9,000 on this lane this week, which is exponentially higher. But again, get your money. But again, like this one, the most important component of moving freight into that Albuquerque market is the outbound availability just isn't there. But if you guys want your lanes broken down, personally, how I assess them, email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com. We break it down 3 days a week, and that is going to be it. Now, today's guest, you guys, I'm really looking forward to it. We talked for the first time yesterday, but I've been following his journey on social media here for a while now. And I just like people who are out there building, right? I like people who are putting in the work, trying new things. And this guy's all over it. So I have my man Ryan here, the trusted freight guy, on the show. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, man, I'm really looking forward to it. And, I felt like we should have recorded yesterday when we were talking for the first time, because, talking about a lot of what we've seen over the years and building a book of business and everything and how different it is right now. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. But since this is your first time on the show, man, how'd you get your start in freight? What brought you into transportation?
Yeah, so back in the late 90s, I was repoing cars for GMAC financing of all things. And they wanted me to move to a different city, and I was not willing to do that. So I hopped on job boards and I responded to an ad from C.H. Robinson. Mm-hmm. And I did not know anything about logistics, anything about freight brokering. And, you can call C.H. Robinson a lot of things, but they got my feet wet and they taught me how to sell to carriers and how to sell to customers. And, things look completely different today, but my journey started there. Then I moved up to Maine and worked for an asset-based company. We scaled their logistics from ground zero to about almost 60 million in about 9.5 years. So it was a great run. Got remarried, went to work for another broker in New Hampshire. And honestly, that's where I started feeling the itch of seeing the need of getting out of the W-2 role and jumping into the 1099 role. And basically, for me, what it meant is I was making a straight salary and other people were covering my freight. And while they weren't bad employees, I just felt I could do the job better. And so finally in October of 2016, I switched from a W-2 employee to a 1099 agent.
Okay.
And so I was a 1099 agent with Tech Transport out of Milford, New Hampshire, great family-run company. I was the only agent. I wanted to grow a little quicker and needed some more tools. So 2 years ago, I started looking around, narrowed my search down to 4 or 5 people or companies. One of those was Armstrong Transport Group. Make a long story short, I went to interview at Armstrong, and on the way up, I listened to a podcast with Cameron Ramsdell. Yep. And after listening to that, I said, hey, if these people are half of what he just talked about, I will run through a wall for Armstrong. And so in February of just a little over a year ago, I moved my book of business to Armstrong. And it's been great. We're growing. We're on pace for about 7.5 million this year. It's myself, a brand new sales guy who has no idea about logistics, an operations manager, and a couple offshore people. So we're a very small operation, but we have some good systems in place. I've learned over the years what to do and what not to do. And, we've kind of made sure that has rubbed off on our operations people. And so we're just excited about where we're at today and who we're partnered with and what the future looks like for us.
So you're one of the individuals that saw transportation kind of pre-COVID, and you've built your book of business, and now you're obviously adding to your book of business right now as well. Ryan, what is the biggest difference between pre-COVID selling and post-COVID selling after everything kind of like settled down? We won't say during the boom.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing for logistics is pre-COVID, you thought that logistics had to be all done in-house, like in the same building. And the biggest thing that I think with COVID is it forced large companies to operate differently. And I think from that, there's a lot of more efficiencies. You don't have to have salespeople coming into the office every day. They can work remotely. We worked remotely in logistics for the better part of how many months,
Yeah.
And so I think pre-COVID to now, I think the biggest difference now is everyone's heavy on automation. And I think personally, this is my opinion, I think automation has oversaturated the way prospects want to interact with you. In other words, you see all this processes, email, follow up with phone, and, you're spinning your wheels. And honestly, last fall, I just kind of hit a wall. I was just tired of the same old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I came across a guy on LinkedIn. His name's Dale Dupree. And, we talked, and since the beginning of January, we have really changed the way that we sell. We sell to serve people. We sell to meet people where they are at currently. And we sell as much as we can human to human. And what I mean by that is showing up and shaking a hand and offering a gift, something that raises curiosity, something that sticks out, something that makes you memorable, something that will make the prospect want to follow up with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, it's funny is I'm on LinkedIn, obviously on social media. Everybody's got an opinion on how to build a book of business. Some of and I'm being extremely sarcastic, some of the best sales advice I think I've seen here recently is, oh, you shouldn't prospect at all. Like, you should just have customers and then you should just grow with those customers. And it's like, okay, but like, how do you get customers, right? How do you build a book of business? And that's the thing that is missing so much, especially in like the agent space, right? Because there's not a lot of agencies who will take on somebody who do not have an established book of business. And then there's a lot of people who come into freight that the training isn't really there, but they're fed house accounts, we'll call them. And it's usually through attrition. Sales reps left. Hey, we used to move freight with these guys, or there's a distribution list, get in on that stuff. And developing new business, I think in today's environment, like, you have to be able to do it in like multiple different modes, right? Like, you have to be able to meet in person. You have to be able to sell via social media. You have to be able to sell via phone, email, all of that stuff. But your key point there is everybody thinks that, and then they just automate it. And it's AI sending all of this stuff out there, where I think we're at a point in time where I don't think AI's too new where people are sick and tired of it yet. But I think from like a prospecting perspective, a lot of them, I think, are going to want to go back to like what you're doing right now, that human to human, face to face stuff. And that's one of those things that, because like when we started back in, 2023 is when we started our brokerage, with SPI, and, we had nothing, right? And it was like, yeah, I had old customers that I had reached out to, and none of them, they're like, yeah, man, we remember you, but like, we're good, So it was like, all right, we got to start from scratch and we got to go. And I was able to leverage social media to get into the door with people through introductions and everything else. And then we fell into the email bug, right? Like, oh, let's just email all of our prospects. And then I hit that wall, like probably 15 months in. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, we're done just sending emails. Pick up the phone, start dialing, and then let's try and get in front of people. My personal philosophy is I like calling ahead and just being like, hey, I'm local. Can I swing by and introduce myself? Hey, I'm local. Can I swing by and introduce myself? Because I think that there's no better way in today's environment to stand out than showing up at their front door, shaking their hand, looking them in the eye. Does it guarantee business? No, not every single time, but they're going to remember you over to the 50 other outreaches or outreaches that they got that week.
Yeah, that's perfectly framed. I mean, I think the general feeling is that if you're in sales and you're young, you want everything fast, fast, fast. We live in a fast environment. And honestly, in what we do, and I think in sales in general, people have to trust you before they are going to give you a shot.
Yeah.
They are not going to trust you by you blowing their cell phone up at 8:10 in the morning with some stupid, crazy text message.
Yeah.
They are going to trust you by being authentic, doing some of the things that you just said, showing up, asking for permission to meet them and shake their hand, not being pitchy on the first and even the second times you speak with them, just being real and trying to develop a relationship, because that's what this is all about. What we do, it's relationships. And you touched on a point a few minutes ago about how do we get customers. And I think, if I'm being honest, one of the things that I don't do a good enough job at is asking for referrals.
Yeah.
I mean, we as freight brokers that have been doing this for such a long time, and we have clients that trust us, like crazy trust us with all of their freight. And we forget the fact to say, hey, Jim, who are some people in your purview that you feel I could help like I help you? And I think that we don't do enough of that. And, that gets you ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And all the outreach that you're trying to do, because you're given an introduction to someone's putting their neck on the line saying, hey, Ryan does X very well. I think you should talk to him.
Yeah.
And so that really needs to be in everybody's playbook as well. I mean, you should set 3 hours of every week aside, and that's all you do. Now granted, if you're new and don't have many customers, that is a problem on the front end. But for people who have been doing this for a long period of time and have a book of business, that should be in your playbook to do every Tuesday from 8 to 11.
Yeah. What advice then would you give to somebody right now? Because there are a lot of individuals who watch this show from all experience levels out there, and all of them are looking to like grow their book of business in some way, shape, or form. I think we all have hit that proverbial wall that you're talking about of like, man, I'm cold calling, I'm emailing, I'm trying to be personal, right? Like, I'm not sending automated messages. I'm addressing all of them to the individual, not just good morning. I'm taking it a step further. I'm not getting any responses here at all. What advice, what are you guys doing? Because that's like what really caught my attention right away, Ryan, is what you're doing out there and how that's standing out in the crowd.
Yeah. So this is the sales is super fun for us. Okay. And so you just have to understand that when you give a touch to somebody, that doesn't mean you're getting business. But what it does is, for me, who's been doing this for almost 28 years, it has reinvigorated me to think creatively outside the box. So the sales rebellion is kind of what we follow. Shout out to them. This is the simple play. This is a crumpled letter and a trash can. So this is a plastic trash can you can get from Dollar Tree for $1.50. It has a crumpled letter in it. And why is it crumpled? Because what happens to all sales brochures? They get thrown in the trash. So we tell people, we have pre-crumpled this for you, so it's easier for you to throw in the trash. And what's on it is my info and some fun stuff. Okay. And so what does this do? When somebody gets this versus the 30 to 40 emails that they get a week, they're going to remember this. And then let me just tell you, this is an example. This is from a current customer. Okay. This is what they emailed back to us the same day we dropped this trash can off. Tyler, I must say this has been the most interesting way to catch someone's attention. You had me at miniature trash can with garbage in it. And although we've vetted our carriers and freight brokers for our 2026 partnership, I am interested to see where your rates fall. Find below our bid lanes, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, the whole idea is we're trying to capture prospects' attention differently than everyone else is doing. And that's what this does. Another one of our plays is the burnt letter. Okay. So this is a matchbox. We get a set of 12 of these for like $12.77. We go to Canva and we make this little fun thing on the front. And this is the burnt letter. This is actually a letter like the crumpled letter, and we've burned it. Okay. And so this is like another play 8 to 10 days after we've sent this. Some other ideas that we do. So we do postcards. So for Valentine's Day, we made this. What's your love language? and on the back, it says roses are red, violets are blue, hidden invoice fees. That's not how we do. And so, you know, this is just a fun way of having fun with sales. Now, does this mean that I'm going to get a customer? No, probably not. But what it does do is it creates curiosity and it creates a conversation.
Yeah.
We do another fun one, which is the cold call deflection spinner. This is a postcard that we send to prospects that's within our play. Here's another fun one. The Holy Shih Tzu Day. And, you know, we've changed the back of it to say, ever had a moment that's made you call upon the name of our celestial canine friend? You know, stuff like, where's my freight now? Why are there hidden invoice fees? You know, so these are pain points that prospects can relate to. And what that's done is we've tracked this since the third week of January, and we're pushing 400,000 in new sales. That's $396,186.55 in new sales. And so, so we're not big, you know, we're just very intentional.
Yep.
I think a big thing too, when you asked about the new people, if you are new and you are listening to this, this is a big piece that a lot of people miss. Being intentional, what does that mean? Intentional means taking a personalized card and writing a handwritten note.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just for people who give you business. Write a handwritten note thanking people for the 20 minutes that they gave you.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the old school way. This on repeat over and over and over is going to turn your 2 to 3 accounts into 10, 15, and 20 accounts. Yeah. It's the old school way. It's hardcore. It's not skipping steps, and it's personalized. People want personalization. They don't want AI.
Here's what it is too. It's time consuming. And that's why I think a lot of people don't do it, right?
It's time consuming.
They want, and I think like, again, I've definitely turned the page on being more KPI focused inside of my business, but I don't believe in 150 calls a day, 100 emails a day BS, because like that's what pushes automation. That's what pushes I just got to get through as many of these as I possibly can. And then your sales manager is going to be like, yeah, it's great that you talked to that person, but you were off your calls by 40 today. So now you got to make 200 dials tomorrow. So it's like, it causes a bunch of that, because like, to me, I mean, everything you're describing right there, right? Like, how much did you say that those trash cans were? $1.50?
These are $1.50 at Dollar Tree. Okay. And I'm even giving you, here's the scan code. They're $1.50. The crumpled letter play is $24.99. You can go on and you can purchase that one time. You get the whole play of the crumpled letter. It comes in Canva. You put your info at the bottom. You can change some things up. The full letter play. So there's like a whole sequence of letters. There's the burnt letter. There's the coffee stain letter. There's the well-traveled letter. That's $198. It's a one-time fee. And it's not some kind of gimmick. This is a way to reach prospects and reach them differently than everybody else is doing.
Dude, here's the thing. Like we send out like gift cards as well in the mail, like just small from Starbucks, $5 cup of coffee. Send those, mail them out to people, do it like that. Again, it's like, hey, if you're going to throw this out, at least enjoy a cup of coffee first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? It's little things like that. And it's funny. You bring up $200, right? People will justify spending thousands on AI and automation to spray and pray, but they will hear this, Ryan, and be like, oh, Ryan, you're full of shit. There's no way $200. That's not going to work. Or they'll go out and they'll buy it all. And then they won't actually go through with it because, it's like, again, how do you stand out in a crowd? And it's like, maybe you don't have $200 to your name, because I've bootstrapped my businesses. I know that sometimes, $200 was like 20 grand and like you need every dollar. If you're going to go out there and make calls to anybody at all, you guys take your time, know what they do. All right. If you're calling a food shipper, know what they produce. If you're calling a plastics manufacturer, just do a little bit of research, you guys. This is where you can use ChatGPT to drop the company's website in and be like, tell me everything about this company. Maybe you're only making 5 cold calls a day at that time because they scare the shit out of you. At least when you're calling those people and you can be like, hey, with your product A, are you shipping it in a reefer that needs to be temped at 36 degrees? And then is there a pallet exchange at the receipt? Just doing anything different than let me bid on your freight. We're the best at everything. Any little thing you can do will stand out. And there are very effective ways to develop business that don't cost thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah. And if I could add on top of that, and other things that you can do is if you go on LinkedIn and you find the decision maker of company X, and you can go on this person's Facebook page, and you can see, oh, hey, they graduated from Clemson University. They're posting about being at the Clemson football games or the Clemson basketball games. When you go to talk to them, you can actually have a conversation around their interest. Maybe it's boating. Maybe they're posting photos of fishing on Lake Hartwell. These are ways that you can bring authenticity to a conversation than just trying to throw darts on the wall, hoping you get a shot at their freight.
Yeah. No, and that's it, right? Like I think no matter what, people need to understand that it is, as much as making 150 cold calls a day isn't the most effective way to do it, it is a numbers game, right? Like you need to get in front of as many people as possible. And, I've known John Rogers for years now, and, I love his content. And, he says it, I think the cheapest way that he develops business is the best way. Everybody I know knows what I do. They know what I do and the problems that I solve. Using that, you call it your sphere of influence, right? Go through your contact list, right? Just text people. Hey, are you open? Can I talk to you about what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
Start with people closest to you. And then I think you'd be surprised at how many people know somebody who is in a position where, you know what? they're going to introduce you to them.
That's right.
And you got to start somewhere, and you got to be creative, because I think the further and further automation is pushed out there in the world in regards to AI, I will guarantee you guys this. If you employ an AI dialer to do your selling for you, it is within 12 months. My gut is within 12 months, Ryan, every company out there will have an AI receptionist, and it will be bot talking to bot, and there will be no progress made at all.
That's right. And I think too, get yourself a really good looking business card. Carry your business card wherever you go. John Rogers preaches that over and over and over. His motto, which is a great motto for anyone in this industry, is tell at least one person a day the problems you solve.
Yep.
Do that on repeat. Do that mixed in with thanking people for their time.
Yep.
Do that with giving a Starbucks gift card, just thanking somebody. You've got to be creative. You got to be authentic. You have to do things that builds trust.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, I love it. I'm going to have you back on whether you want it or not. I really enjoyed shooting the shit with you, man. Like, no matter what, Ryan, I like talking to people who are actually in the trenches and building stuff, because there's so much theory out there, right? There's so many people who haven't sold in a very long time, trying to give people advice on how things are done now. There's very few people I know who sold and built pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? And it's like, we were talking yesterday, I've seen the parallels. Back in the day, you used to be able to make a couple of touches with the prospect, and they'd give you a prove it shipment. Those don't exist anymore. You got to stand out. You got to be creative, and it's not as challenging as people think. It's just maybe a little uncomfortable for you in the moment to adapt those new philosophies. And that's also one of the unspoken massive positives about being an agent. You don't have to get approval from your boss. Hey, can I go buy these and do this? It's like, just go out and do it.
Go out and do it, man. And listen, hey, here's the other thing too. If you're new, don't be afraid of failure. I've been doing this for 28 years and I don't do it right. I fail too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with failure is you got to get up off the mat. You got to figure out what you did wrong and just try to do better at what you failed at. And when you do that over and over on repetition and get better at it, you'll be more comfortable getting in front of people who are strangers to you.
Yep. Now that's it, right? Like I look at it here's one thing too. They're not thinking about you at all, right? Like as soon as they hang up or as soon as they might tell you, get out of my, they're not thinking about you at all. None of us, I'm not saying people aren't important. None of us are that important to where they're now racking their brain all day long about that one interaction. That's just not what's going on at all. And, I think at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and put in the reps. That's what it is. If you want to get more comfortable doing anything, it's going to come in reps. The more reps you do, a lot of things are going to come to mind. Hey, maybe I should try it this way. And I've said it often, Ryan, the hardest thing that I've come across in business and building companies is systems development, because you could have a great idea, but you don't know for 90 or 120 days if it's actually going to work.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that 120-day mark, you might realize, fuck, we got to change everything now.
That's right.
Go in a different direction.
And honestly, that's what Tara and I just got done finished doing. We honed our messaging a little bit tighter over the last week and a half, and we've segmented our letters to different ICPs so that, hey, if we're going to want to go after someone in robotics or high value, we have a different letter series for that specific industry. And so you just have to keep evolving. You can't stay stagnant. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over. You got to adjust, readjust. Hey, this is working. This is not working. And go back to the lab and reassess.
I love it. Brian, thank you so much, man. How does anybody reach out to you? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, really. If you hashtag the Trusted Freight Guy, you'll find me. RyanSuydam.
Perfect. Ryan, thank you so much. If you guys can't find him out there, I will gladly put you guys in direct contact with him. But that's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, and I know you did today, and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank that show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.